This
EWM
conference will
functions
now
and
be recorded.
Yes.
okay, good. Okay, guys, so it's good evening and let's start. So this is, you can assume, as it's our first session or second session. As in previous session we had discussed about the EWM overall overview. Okay, so before I start, I want to just take a pause and ask you guys if you have any questions, like if you have gone through what we discussed, or if you have got a chance to see different materials on internet and SAP here and there. So if you have any questions which are like in your head before we start the training and we go deep, so you will have some initial questions. So again, I'm giving you opportunity to talk about those questions and let me know if you have any questions or any doubts about anything overall generic. Okay, not related to EWM processes, but yeah, processes anyway we're going to cover during the training. But if you have any question about anything generic about the training or about the topic or about the course or about the um, anything, it can be anything, so you guys can ask me now. So I'll wait for a minute for you guys to speak up if you have something. No question? Okay. then then I would like to ask that, do you guys understand what is S4 HANA and what is ECC or ERP? It's one generic you guys need to understand before we take the training forward. So as I think in our previous session I explained that S4 HANA is a new enterprise business suite which will replace ERP or ECC in future, in coming years. Wherever somebody is already running their business on ERP, then in future they will run it on S4 HANA sooner or later. When, that depends on them, but yeah, sooner or later. But if anybody is going for an implementation these days, they will definitely go with S4 HANA. Okay, so S4 HANA is an intelligent business suite which is based on SAP HANA. SAP HANA is the database framework. Okay, so that is more faster, and there are a lot of technical things about SAP HANA which you can get on internet and you can figure out those details. And if you have any questions or clarifications about any of those things, like it has the it runs on the memories, and then a lot of reportings and business intelligence is inbuilt, Fiori apps, and then this OTAP, OLAP, and then it's columnar and the tabular, like so many and ways of the database has been reduced, and it is fast because they are using memory and etc etc. Okay, but it is necessary that all of you guys have at least a basic understanding of SAP S4 HANA overall, how does it behave, what this is about. So you will have clarity, basic at least understanding about S4 HANA, and then you can start thinking about, okay, so this is S4 HANA and EWM is within S4 HANA, just like WM was within ERP. Now EWM is within S4 HANA, and that is how the setup of this training system or infrastructure is done. We will be executing this training in S4 HANA latest version 1909, and EWM is embedded within the same system. So I'll take a pause again if you have any question. Otherwise, then we will continue forward. No questions? Okay. Yes. Somebody got to say something? Okay. So today what we're going to discuss is we will discuss about what are the overall high level processes and functions in EWM. Okay, so I will just walk you through those things, and then you might have some questions about one particular process which we will discuss. If you have any question, then we will discuss those things. So yeah, just go through this, try to just have a glance on this picture or on this slide. So this talks about the various EWM functions that can be grouped into processes. Okay, so like we have inbound processes, outbound process, warehousing and storage, evaluations and planning, physical inventory. So high level processes. Then within inbound process, what are all things there? Goods receipt, put away optimization, yard management, quality inspection, slotting and rearrangement. Outbound process. Within outbound process, we have goods issue, wave management, cross docking, value added services, packing, replenishment, EHS, and whatever all these processes or the areas within high level inbound, outbound, and other processes, that is what we are going to discuss today. So like you might be thinking, what is slotting and rearrangement, right? Or what is cross docking, what is value added services? So by looking at this slide, you will have those questions, and that is what we're going to discuss today. So you will be familiar with the high level process, you will be familiar with the terminology, and you will be having the understanding of which kind of processes and at what point of time this will be used or applied, and then later on we will understand and execute how this each particular process is configured in the system and how it is executed. First you need to understand the concept, what this is about, like what is yard management, what is slotting, what is value added services, and what are the resource management in EWM, what are the physical inventory in EWM. So those are the things that you need to just high level you need to understand before we go deep inside EWM and before we get into the system. So yeah, in warehousing and storage we have handling units, RF, barcodes, RFIDs, resource management, material flow systems, and other ad hoc movements, the material or the stock transfers from one bin to other bin, and posting changes, and so on. So this is about the internal activities. Then you have evaluation and planning. Okay, so evaluation and planning, where you have the warehouse monitor, task and alert monitors, delivery monitors, labor management. Then coming to the physical inventory. In physical inventory we have like different kind of physical inventory, periodic, continuous, cycle counting, and how this is different than the physical inventory which you or some of you or all of you have performed at IM level or with WM. So EWM specific physical inventory, how does it work, and how it is different than the physical inventory which you have performed in MM, IM, or WM level. So before we move on to each of these topic, do you guys have any question? Come on
No,
guys,
no.
you have to talk. Is somebody trying to talk?
No questions from my side.
Okay, okay, thanks man. Okay, but it's good that you if you guys have questions, It will help to make the sessions interactive, and then we both from both side there will be contributions and all of your doubt. And don't think like what other people will think about your question. Okay, no question is silly or stupid question. Every question is valid, and it is good that whatever doubt you have, you can clear it during these sessions. Otherwise, it will remain inside. Okay, so don't worry if you have a question. You guys are free to ask, but I am expecting more questions. But so far, this is our second session, but you guys are not talking much. But let's see how it goes in coming sessions. I hope you guys will read something, and then also when we are exploring the system and configuring the systems, you will have questions. Okay, so inbound is one of the core process in EWM. Okay, and what do we do in inbound process? We receive the goods, right? And then it includes the necessary functionalities that is to direct the movement of the goods, or the direct the movement of the products from warehouse door to the final bin, right? So in inbound process, what we do, we receive materials and then we put them into the bin. That means what are generally just okay, now the question is to you guys, when you receive the goods, okay, let's take example of this one. You are receiving the goods and putting into the bin, but within these two things which we are talking about, receiving goods and putting into the bin, physically can you imagine what are other things that will be happening or you will be doing? If you are a warehouse employee, what are the things or activities or tasks you will do to make sure that the product reach to the bin? But before it reach to the bin, what are the things or activities that you will be doing in the warehouse? Can you imagine and tell me some of the examples what happens in real time? See, because EWM or WM is all about real time, what is happening there, you have to visualize that, or you have to imagine that, you have to see that picture or that video in your mind, and then it is easy to correlate everything. So tell me now, what will happen before you receive goods physically? I'm not talking about system, you don't need to know any system. You tell physically what happens.
So Anup, so after truck arrives only the process will be started, right? You mean to say before receiving means what does it mean?
Yeah, so first the truck comes there with your goods, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Yeah,
So once
and
once
then
truck
what
arrives,
happens?
once truck arrives, so what we will do? We will do the inspection, quality inspection, whether all goods are properly, they are sent or not. We will take the number of goods and we will check whether all goods are in perfect manner, any damage or something like that. Then we will count the goods and they will do. We will put away. We will do put away.
Okay, okay, good, perfect. So see, yes, we will do these things, but is there anything more that you can think of, or anybody else can think of, in addition to what he said? There are few more things which can be done or which will be done definitely, and one of them is unloading, right? You will unload the goods from the truck, and then after unloading the goods you will post goods, means when you are unloading, that means you are receiving, and then after that goods received, if you have a quality inspection, you will perform the quality inspection, and then if repacking is required, you will repack the products, right? Or if the vendor or the supplier has sent you the materials in a big pallet or a big box, right? For example, you might have ordered one laptop and one TV LCD, and vendor is, since vendor is sending it to you, you are his customer, so for one customer he can pack both of things together. For him it's easy to transport, so he will pack laptop and TV together and send it to you. But when you are receiving in your warehouse, you are not keeping them together, you are keeping in separate areas, separate bins. So you will break that HU or open that HU and repack into two different boxes, TV in a separate one and a laptop in a separate one, and then you will also put labels or some additional things on that, right? So you will perform some additional activities on while repacking, and then after that you will do like you need to check the weight or you need to check the size or anything if you required, and then you will do put away into the bin, right? Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, no,
based on
correct. Yeah,
yes, yeah, thanks man. So based on the configuration settings and master data, so products can be put away in an optimal fashion. Using the slotting and rearrangement function can be used. So this slotting and rearrangement is a part of an optimization for goods received process or for inbound process. Okay, and what is, excuse me, what is optimal? What is optimal means, what do you guys think that optimal can be? Optimal is like, what is my best place to receive this product and put away into the bin, means which are my best bin to keep this product in the stock or in the warehouse. For storing a particular material, which are my best bin, means I can also store the same product into different bins which are not optimal, but I will always prefer to go with optimal first. If there is space available in optimal, I do put away into the optimal. If there is no space available, then I will go with less optimal. Okay, so how to define into the system that this storage type or this area or this bin will be an optimal bin for me? So that is what we also going to learn during our inbound process configuration setup and the real-time examples and the testing. Okay, so slotting
can you
is
please repeat
our
the
next.
optimal process?
Sorry.
Can you please repeat that optimal process you said? It was breaking.
Yeah, yeah, see, optimal is it's like for example, when you have like in just in case you have an emergency where you need 1 lakh rupees. Okay, but when you have that need and you don't have money, so there is one person in your mind that I will go to that person, right? So he is your optimal bin. In case of warehouse terminology, if you have products to put away and consider him as bin, so he is your optimal bin. But if because of any reason he is not reachable or you cannot reach out to him or he is out of town, then there is also will be somebody else that you can reach out to, right, for that requirement or
Yeah,
that need.
yeah,
Okay,
correct.
so it's like what comes first in your mind, that is your first guy. I always go to him and he never say no to me and he always help, so it's better I go to him only. Why to go to somebody else? But if he, and unfortunately if he might not have money for you to help, right? So he will say, I'm sorry, man, I don't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
money. Same here in the bin. The bin will say, I'm sorry, I don't have space available for your materials which you are bringing here. So then you will say, oh, now if this is not available, then I need to go to the other bin, right? Clear, right? Okay. So I hope it's clear
yeah.
now.
Clear, clear. Thank you.
Okay, next is slotting. Yeah, so during slotting, a storage concept is automatically determined for a product. I'll read it again. During slotting, because that's deep. So during slotting, a storage concept is automatically determined for a product. So it's a technique, okay, in EWM, and based on that technique, system determines the storage concept. Means through slotting, system determines the optimal storage bins. Okay, so slotting help us to tell to system that for this product these are my optimal storage bins. So slotting gives the result and update into product master, which later on connect with the strategy. and through strategy only we are determining the bins, right? For through put away strategy and stock removal strategies, we are able to determine the bins, right? To which bin we should put away, that is determined based on the put away strategy, and from which bin we should pick from the stock is determined by your stock removal strategies. So through slotting, we determine the indicators and update in product or material master. These indicators help system to connect with the best or optimal strategy, which will help you to do put away or picking. Clear? Then the system determines the underlying storage parameters that are relevant for put away on the basis of the product data, requirement data, and packaging data. And rearrangement is used to optimize. Okay, now I will give you example for slotting and rearrangement. Take an example of a let's say like garment store, okay, or superstore like Zara or Big Bazaar or the Max or any other showroom or the store that you go to buy clothes, okay, for your shopping. So when you go during the winter, you will always find on all those hangers and all the displays, it's all the winter clothes, right? But during the winter season they also have still the summer related clothes which are like cotton clothes and all that, which are light, but those clothes are during the winter, those are put back into the small store which is in the back of the store. And when the season change from winter to summer, the clothes which are left over on the racks and on these hangers will go back to the store, the back end store, and the clothes which are in the back end store which are for summer will come to the front. So where, see here, system says that the system determines the underlying storage parameters that are relevant for put away on the basis of the product data, requirement data, and packaging data. So these are the particular data which system reads. The requirement data means from planning side, where for example the seasonal demand changing now because of the season change. So that means you need to rearrange your stock, means the stock which is in the back store needs to be brought to the front, and the stock which is in the front needs to go in the back. So that will be done through rearrangement. So is it clear now? So this is slotting and rearrangement. Okay, another example you can take as fast moving items, slow moving items. Okay, for slotting and rearrangement. Okay, so the next is yard management. So you guys can, or you might be started already, you might have started thinking about what is yard management, right? Or if you can visualize, or let's take an example of any warehouse you can think of, like it can be Amazon or it can be any other Flipkart or Walmart or anything, right? Or any warehouse which you have seen in real life, wherever like you have gone got an opportunity to go to client side, where you are when you are traveling, and there you go to the go and meet the business, right? And you might have seen a warehouse. So the warehouse is behind the walls, inside the walls, or yeah, within the walls is your warehouse, and outside of the physical walls of your warehouse, that area is called as yard. Okay, so that area, that open area where the trucks or the vehicles comes and leaves, that area is called as yard. So how to manage that area is considered as yard management. Okay, so you monitor and manage your vehicles. Vehicles are your transportation units in EWM. Okay, the vehicles comes there to deliver the products to the warehouse, or they come there to pick the products from the warehouse. If it's inbound delivery, the vehicle has come there to deliver the products, whether it's arranged by you or it's arranged by the vendor. And then when it's outbound delivery, when you are shipping goods to the customer, then the vehicle come there to pick up the materials and take them to the customer. So the vehicle again, the transportation can be again arranged by the customer, or it can be arranged by you. That depends on your agreement with your customers. So how do you manage the movement of these vehicles? So for example, what will be happening when a truck comes? So in our inbound process, we spoke about that, okay, truck will come and then we will unload and then we will receive the goods and we do put away. But after unloading, unloading and put away and GR posting is the warehouse activity. But what are other additional things will physically take place, which you can visualize or imagine of? What will happen is, when the truck comes, it comes at a gate. There will be one gate the truck will enter through. At that gate, the truck will show some papers to the guy who is there. He will be the shipping and receiving clerk, or let's say the security guard, right? They will see some paper and then only they will let the truck come inside. So when they are showing those papers at that checkpoint, at that gate in EWM yard management is a checkpoint. So at the checkpoint, when truck comes, the truck becomes active, and then the guy at the checkpoint will tell him that, okay, you go to that door. If the door is available already, he will direct him to go to the door. Otherwise, he will ask him to wait in the parking space. There will be parking lot or parking places in the warehouse, right? So sorry, in the yard. And then the truck will wait in the parking lot. Once door is available, they will move from parking lot to the door, and then at the door the loading or unloading will happen, and then truck again will leave from the door to the parking space, or parking space to checkpoint, or directly from door to the checkpoint, and then the truck will leave. It is like a process. You have to go there first, you have to check in, and then you have to go to the door if the door is ready. Otherwise you have to wait in the parking place, parking space, parking spot. It is same like when you go to the airport. When you have a flight and you go to the airport, so first you go to the boarding counter, you check in and then get your boarding pass. Then after that you have to go to through the security. Then you, once through the security you are cleared, then you go and wait for your flight, right? And once your flight is ready and there is a door ready for that, only then you go to the door. And while you are waiting in the waiting area. For the trucks, the waiting area in the yard is the parking space or parking lot. Okay, then you get you yourself are loading into the flight, means you are boarding the flight, and here the truck, will happen with the truck? Loading or unloading of the handling units will take place. So I hope you guys are able to relate these things with each other, because EWM is all about, if you can physically or if you can visualize and imagine it, you can see a real picture, only then it is easy to understand. Otherwise it is difficult, because it is all about how physically things happen and takes place, how your logistic execution is taking place, how your operations are being executed physically. Same thing we have to map into the system, and that is what we're going to do. So what we are mapping in the system is or will not make much sense until unless you know that physically, oh, this is what will happen there in EW, means in the real time, in the warehouse or in the yard, and that is what I am mapping or configuring. For example, I will say storage type, I am going to create a new storage type. Okay, and then a storage type, then it means it, you will not be comfortable by, oh, what is storage type, I don't know. Storage type is one of the physical area in the warehouse. It can be high rack area, it can be open storage area, it can be a bulk storage area, or it can be the small bins, or it can be big bins. There are so many different kind of storage areas. So those storage areas are your storage type. So if you know that, okay, then it's very easy. Okay, he's talking about storage type. So any question? Okay, so next is quality inspection. Okay, so the materials which we receive from the external suppliers, or we receive return back from the customers, so those materials will always be inspected. So we perform quality inspection on those materials, and then observe or record the results, and then based on our findings on the inspections, then either we scrap those items or we do put away into the warehouse. Okay, so the quality inspection, there are two ways that we will be performing quality inspections. One is totally within EWM, other is when you are integrating it with ERP QM or S4 HANA QM with EWM. So you perform your quality inspections in in S4 HANA QM itself, and you update the results from QM to EWM. Outbound process. The outbound process represents the second of the major EWM processes. Outbound process, I will not call it second major EWM process. Outbound process is the one which is number one, that you always need to pay attention, because outbound process is about your customer. So customers are always on your priority, or not yours, then the business or the client who you are working for. So for them, the clients are always their priority, because the business is all about customers, right? So the better is your operations, and the faster and accurate are your deliveries and shipments to your customers, better it is for your business. So that's why, so outbound process is one of the main process in EWM. Okay, so what do you do in outbound process? Since it's customer focused, so it becomes more important, because of the customers and the shipments to the customers. Only the companies, whatever they sell, they make revenue out of that, right? So it impacts on every possible way. So that's why this is one of the area where people needs to have like clear understanding, and understand from the requirements from the client side and business side, what are their requirement, how they are doing currently. And when you guys are playing a role as a functional guy for EWM implementation, so then you will help them to map their processes in EWM. Okay, so it's very it's like it's huge, and it's like an ocean. Outbound process, there are so many sub processes and so many controls you can tweak around based on the customer needs. Okay, so what are key things that you do in outbound process? You pick, pack, you will pick the materials from the bin, then you will pack them, then you will put them to the staging area, and then you will load into the truck, and then you will post goods issue. Okay, and then like you also have the wave management that help you to group multiple outbound deliveries together, and then at certain point of time wave is released, so system creates the picking warehouse tasks and group those warehouse tasks into warehouse orders to optimize the picking. So waves can be created automatically or manually. So what is wave is, it's like grouping of several deliveries to optimize your picking operations. For example, if you process one by one delivery individually, then even though it might be same material, let's say you have 100 deliveries, 100 line items into those deliveries, and you are processing one by one, that means what will happen? You will create picking warehouse task for the delivery. So you will assign that task to somebody, he will go to pick that item. So he will go to the warehouse inside that high rack area, He will drive a forklift and he will pick that item and bring it to the staging area or pack it and then take it to the staging area. And then right away again, once he's done, you will say, okay, now one more delivery, go. Same product again need to be picked for other delivery. So he will go again, bring it there. You will send him 5 times, 10 times, but there are 100 line items, 100 deliveries. So he will go mad. He will say, come on, boss, why you are doing this? Instead of sending me again and again, just tell me how many line items I need to pick. I will go pick all these 100 line items together, right? तो उसको गुस्सा आएगा. He will be frustrated. He might not say, but he will be frustrated at his supervisor. He will say, you design your system such a way, or you design this work, decide like such a way, and then only tell me one time only, same material, same bin, I can go once only, and I can pick these 100 items together, and I can bring it to the packing work center, and from there I can put it into staging area. So that will be the optimization of your resources. He will not have to travel 100 times. He will not have to drive the forklift 100 times. He will not have to access those high rack bins again and again 100 times. So it will save time at every point if you optimize your picking operations, and that is done through wave management. Clear?
And where is this staging area in reality, actually in a warehouse?
The staging area in reality is just near to the walls or near to the door.
Okay, so
The
in
staging
staging
area
area
will
they
be
will loading.
where you will perform loading or unloading. That is your staging area.
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm.
So a staging area is an interim area for the goods which you receive from supplier and hold there for some time, and then you from there you take it to the put away bin. And a staging
Okay,
area
so
for
we will do
outbound
activities over there, right?
yes, yes. A staging area for outbound process is a staging area which you used to stage the materials which you have picked from the warehouse, which before you load. So before you load, you put them there at certain area. For example, just take example of your kitchen itself in your house. So all of you will have means you have a kitchen, and when you go to the supermarket and you bring groceries, when you bring those 1 or 2 bags, like you will put it there in one place, right? And then from there somebody will take these out one by one, and then they will put it at their places, right? So that place is staging area, and same is in the warehouse.
Yeah, yeah, got it, got it.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Cross docking. Okay guys, so what is cross docking? Cross docking simply is where you have the trading kind of goods, like the materials which are packed already, and the same way you receive from your suppliers and same way you ship to your customers. That means if at the same point of time in the warehouse you have one inbound delivery you are receiving from supplier, and you have one outbound delivery you are supposed to send to your customer, and the same material is you are receiving, same material is to be sent to the customer. So for that case, you can use cross-docking as a process, and you can directly receive the stock from the inbound staging area and take it directly to the outbound staging area and load it into the truck for the customer, instead of receiving it in GR area and then taking it into the warehouse, put away into the bin, and then from there somebody else is going and picking. So you will save the travel time and the additional time. It will also help you to reduce the inventory cost. It will also help you to reduce the warehouse size. Okay, it's like inbound
So,
goods you are
so,
sending directly to the customer.
so cross-docking is helpful for only damaged goods
Yes,
or are other goods as well?
cross docking is helpful for what kind of goods you are saying?
So I mean to say, so cross-ranking is only used for damaged goods that to be returned, or also
No, no,
other
no, no.
goods.
I'm not talking about damaged goods. Damage. It's not about damaged goods. It's about trading goods. For example, you receive one box from your supplier, and same way you are shipping it to your customer. You are not using those as raw material to produce something. That is one thing. Other is there is no quality inspection required for those materials, then you can send those to your customers. So for example, see, for it's for example, like you are supposed to receive 1000 rupees from your friend A, and you are supposed to give 1000 rupees to your friend B. So when this your friend A is giving you 1000 rupees, same time you are just passing on that 1000 rupees to your friend B. Same way, you are a warehouse. Instead of 1000 rupees, you are getting one pallet of packed materials, and those materials you are receiving from the supplier, and then you are directly sending to the customer instead of taking them inside the warehouse.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah, so it's directly from inbound staging area to outbound staging area, not going inside the racks and not driving inside the warehouse. It's from staging area to staging area. Okay.
Anup,
Eh, Yes.
so cross-docking also applies to any spare part, SPD warehouse or something. If I'm right?
Yes. You can
Spare part
apply to
division.
anything you want. See, applying is okay. Applying is through the configuration. We can apply to anything, but where does it make sense? That either business will decide that, or you will propose them as like this makes sense for this kind of materials. For example, the materials which are not relevant for quality inspection, you can use cross docking. Spare parts which you are receiving same way you are sending to the customer, you can use cross docking. Or any kind of trading goods which you are receiving and sending, you are receiving same from the customer, sorry, receiving from the supplier, and then you are sending same to the customer. You can apply it, you can activate cross docking for those.
Okay, Anup. Okay.
Yeah, because it makes sense only for the products for which you do not perform any additional warehouse activities like the quality inspection or counting or repacking, or you are not performing the value added services. Then you use cross docking for those materials. Okay. And cross docking is also more on where you do not have shelf expiry or the batch expiry dates, because otherwise it will violate your first in first out or expiry first out rule, right? Because if you have, for example, if you have edible items or food or any kind of dairy products that you do not want to cross dock, because the products which, or the handling units which you have received first, that should go out first. Okay, you can still activate it, but it will violate that rule. So it's business decision, but generally where you say where you have expiry dates, you will not use cross docking directly, because in that case you will receive it into the warehouse and you will pick from the warehouse which is to be expired first. Okay, so you guys might have idea about first expiry, first in first out, last in first out, and those inventory rules, stock management rules.
So Anup,
Okay.
in
Yes.
cross-docking, whether we do quality inspection or we will directly send the goods to customer.
No, we do not, we cannot cross dock materials which are subject to quality management. Okay, the
Okay.
materials which are subject to quality management should not be activated for cross docking. And if the materials are subject to quality management or quality inspection, you will not and you should not cross dock those materials, because how can you send materials without inspection to your customer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It
that's what.
will impact your business. So,
Correct, correct.
so first is that you yourself are not sure about the quality of those products when you are receiving from supplier. That's why you have activated quality management for those, right? It can be chemical. You have to perform quality inspection because every batch is produced differently, and you have to perform your quality inspections. So
Yeah,
that's
no
why
problem.
the
Yeah, yeah.
materials which are subject to quality should not be cross-docked. Okay, let's move on. Next is value-added services. So can you guys think of some example about value-added services in your life, in your day-to-day life? What can be value-added services? Not by reading this, but I'm just thinking what example you can give me.
Packing.
Yes, so packing of what?
Um, Packing means like, if I get some cigarettes without packing means we will do pack the cigarettes and we can send to the customer.
Okay,
I mean, I
Labor
said
charges,
an
no?
example. It automatically pack from the factory. I know. I just give an example.
yeah, yes. Somebody else also saying something.
Labor charges, no?
Yeah, labor charges also. Okay, so just take an example of these online companies or the e-commerce. When you order, for example, you order one mobile phone from Amazon or from Flipkart or any other website, right? So when you order, what they will be doing, think from their side what they will be doing before it reaches to you, right? And when you receive, see, they will have this mobile phone in their warehouse in the bins, in a packed box which is particularly designed for that mobile, right? Each mobile have its own nice and fancy white color or gray color of box, right? But when you receive it, you don't receive it directly in that box, right? That box is wrapped in a bubble sheet, and then it is packed into a gray color or this khaki color of box, and some airbags are also put it inside, right? All of you, I'm sure all of you have opened a new phone box packing, and you must have been very excited when you receive a new phone, right? All of us are very happy always and excited to open that box, and I'm sure that you must have seen, अरे एक phone के लिए साला कितना packing किया हुआ, right? You must have, but that packing is done because it helped to save the product, right? The damage and all that, it increased the life of the product, it increased the safety of the product, right? So that packing is part of value added service. Like for example, that bubble sheet that was used to wrap around the mobile box, that is for the safety, so the material reaches to you, the product reaches to you safely without any damage. If there is a damage, definitely you will just return it right away, so their business will be impacted. So they don't want business to be impacted in a negative way, so they perform value added services to avoid the damage or to increase the life of the products or the safe handling of the products. So that's why these are part of value added services. So some examples are the assembling products, packing products, labeling and kitting, etc. So like oiling and all those things are part of the value added services, which is part, value added service is part of inbound process as well as part of outbound process. It can be used in both processes. Okay, so a value added service is based on a VAS order, value added service order. So a order is in a document that is created, and that order will have all the instructions how the packing should be done and everything, and what are the bubble sheet or plastic wrap to be used for the packing, and what kind of box to be used for the packing. So all those details are mentioned in that VAS order. So any question? Okay, packing. Packing in an outbound process generally involves the removal of stock from storage bin and placing it into a pick handling unit. Depending on your packing requirement, the pick HU may be taken to the packing work center where the products in the are packed further into the shipping HUs. Okay, so remember when you guys go to the supermarket, when you go buy groceries, all of you go to buy groceries, right? So when you go buy groceries, you will always have a list of the items with you, which will be prepared by your family members, your wife, your mother, your sister, or somebody else, generally who manage the kitchen. That person will prepare or keep writing the name of the items on one paper as and when things are means getting out of the stock, right? And then generally people go to the supermarkets on weekend. So by the weekend your list is depends on how big is your list, you will go to the supermarket to buy those items. So when you enter into the supermarket or a grocery store, what you will do first thing is that you will look for a trolley. And what kind of trolley generally they have two kind of trolleys. One is that plastic red color, which you can hang in your hand, or you can pull it also, but it is small. But there is one that is steel trolley that you can push, and that is big in the size. So it depends on what kind of means how big is your list of groceries, how many items you are going to buy. If your list is big, you will definitely take the push the steel trolley. If your items are small and few items, then you might take that plastic trolley, right? So that plastic trolley or wire basket, when you enter in the supermarket to take your items to the counter, that trolley is in EWM is called as a pick HU. Pick HU. Pikachu is one that is same trolley in the warehouse. You will just drive it and bring all the items, put it into that HU and bring them to the packing work center. And in that packing work center, they will perform the packing of those items. And for example, in your case, supermarket or grocery, you will take the trolley to the counter, and then at the counter, they will scan all the items and put it into your bag. And then you will pay and you will leave from there and you will go home. So it's everything is, see, if some of you cannot imagine or have not seen a warehouse, start connecting things. What we are talking here, start connecting it with your kitchen and your grocery store where you buy things. Start thinking about the grocery store which you go there and buy groceries. Imagine that as a warehouse and try to understand the whole operations, inbound, outbound, internal, you as a customer or somebody as a vendor, and then try to understand the whole business and try to map it in your head first. And that is what we are going to do in the system later on during this training. Okay, next is replenishment. Replenishment can be used to restock a picking area in accordance with the demand. Okay, what is replenishment? If you guys have worked in you know material requirement planning, MRP, and there is something called as reorder point. Reorder point is maintained in EWM also, and that is like when you have the available stock falls below a threshold value, then you need to trigger procurement. That is for MRP. But in replenishment, whenever you have a stock below a certain quantity, that means you need to bring more stock into this bin, and these bins are your picking bins. So the picking bins will always be near to your goods issue staging area, outbound staging area, so it's easy to pick the items quickly and put them into the packing work center and staging area fast, so you can speed up your shipments to your customer. And that is more focused, and that is always help you to increase the revenue, right? And if any of you have worked on any WM or MM, and I'm not sure MM, but yeah, if WM implementations, if you guys have worked, then you will know that how important it is. Initially, you know, when they go live, they will be saying that okay, our target is in first week, let's go start from 10 to 50, 50 to 100. Let's execute 100 shipments in our system and see how system perform, and let's see what issues we face. Then they will plan, okay, let's have 500 shipments to the customers in 1 week, and then they will say let's increase this number, and then they will slowly move on the whole operations in the system, right? So their focus will always be on the as many as possible shipments that you can do as quickly as possible. And excuse me, then EWM will help you to optimize your outbound processes and picking processes. So as part of that, keeping in mind, so you will have fixed picking areas near your staging, and you pick from there, and just less travel time is involved, so you just take them to the staging area and load it into the truck. So these bins from which you are picking need to be replenished. Okay, same way like in your kitchen, you have the items like you have sugar, you have tea, you have the rice, and you have other items in your kitchen. So all these items, you never buy these items once everything is totally empty. So that doesn't happen anywhere in any kitchen at any house or any home. That means when there is small quantity left in that box, the person who is managing the kitchen will tell you, I mean, they will write it on the list that this item needs to be bought in this weekend before we run out of the stock. So that some quantity that is left over in the box is your reorder point. That is the time when it triggers to the person who's managing in the kitchen that we need to buy this item now. Same way it is in the warehouse. Like when a certain quantity in the bin goes below that threshold value, then the system will say this quantity, this bin need to be replenished. Clear?
Yes, Anup.
Clear, guys? Okay. Then we have this EHS, environment, health, and safety. So yeah, depends on what kind of materials you handle in the warehouse. So EHS also is integrated with the EWM, and it also help you to manage the hazardous goods in a separate way, or there are different hazardous substances which can be maintained in EWM, which will help you to manage from the environmental health and safety point of view. Handling units. So yeah, in EWM, in WM or EWM or any kind of warehouse, doesn't matter what solution they are using, the goods will always be packed. Like when they receive, they will receive it packed goods. When they are sending to the customer, they will send the packed goods. So these packed goods will be, means in EWM it will be called as a handling unit. Okay, so handling unit is required for all of your processes in EWM. Okay, so how handling units will be created and all that we will see when we do the exercises and configurations. And there is something called storage process control in EWM, process oriented and layout oriented storage control. And for those processes, handling units are mandatory. Okay, then next is mobile data entry. Mobile data entry is when you are using your RF devices, right? So all of the operations in the warehouses are executed using RF devices, right? So people will just scan the HU, scan the bin, and then scan the door and all those things. They will scan, they will move, scan, and scan the product, scan the HU, scan the bin, and then they will scan to where they are going, and they will scan that bin and saying that, oh, I have confirmed it here. So the whole scanning thing, the operations are executed using RF devices. So these RF devices are part of mobile data entry. So that is one of the key functionality, or every warehouse will have these RF devices. So we will see how this is set up and configured, and how the work is assigned to the people who are working in the warehouse. RFID is another version of radio frequency, but in RFID there are tags attached to the products. For example, when you go to the when you go to a mall, in the mall you might have seen when you enter in a store or in a showroom, there are there are two white kind of terminals right at the gate. So when somebody try to go out from the store without paying money for that item, and that item, once it reaches to those terminals, it start beeping, and then security guard will stop him, right? And they will check everything. So that technology is RFID technology, where the products in the store or in the warehouse has tagged attached, these ID tags. There are RF tags that are attached, and these will read the information when you are passing through these terminals. Okay, so that is RFID, radio frequency, uh, and it works with auto ID infrastructure. Okay, AII. So you can have you can execute it or use it for inbound, outbound, and some internal movements. Monitoring tool, EWM has a warehouse management monitor as one of the tool, and that is most frequently used and most utilized or used tool or transaction code, which you will use to monitor and execute almost everything you can perform there. Labor management is another topic. If you means you can activate labor management and monitor the activities and the performance of the warehouse employees, and you can plan, and then you can differentiate between the planned activities and the executed planned workload and executed workload. So based on that, you can decide the performance of the employees. Then the last but not least is the physical inventory. Yeah, so you have physical inventory definitely will be part of every warehouse. Doesn't matter you use WM or EWM or even at IM level. Wherever you have stock, you have to have physical inventory, and you have to count the products or the bins at least once a year, and that is mandatory process. So it reflects the right value in your final accounts of your company. So there is a storage bin specific and product specific physical inventory, and there are three procedures. One is periodic physical inventory, continuous physical inventory, and cycle counting. Periodic is like at a certain intervals, like every quarter or every 6 months you perform physical inventory, or annual once in a year. Continuous is throughout the year, and then cycle counting is based on the product. You decide the frequency of how frequently this item should be counted, based on, for example, high dollar value items or items which are high prices. Those items should be counted very frequently, and items like spare parts or like screws and washers and bolts and etc., those can be counted once in a year. Okay, any doubt, any question? No? Okay guys, so yeah, then we are done for today. If let me know if you have any question. Otherwise, then yeah, we will end the session and then we will meet tomorrow. Okay.
Okay,
So Anup, so from tomorrow we will do the system process, huh? I mean configurations like that.
No, not from tomorrow. Day after tomorrow we will do, because tomorrow I will discuss and I will walk you through the warehouse structural elements and what are all those things. Like I'm not sure, some of you might be aware, some of you might not be aware, but I have to do it from everyone's point of view. Like what is a warehouse, what is
Yeah. Please
storage
do.
type, what is the storage section, what is a bin, and how it is different now in S4HANA EWM system, how it was in WM, like what was the the length of the, like, what is the warehouse number in ERP, what is the warehouse number in EWM, what is storage type in ERP, what is storage type in EWM. So those things, what means, we will discuss the warehouse organizational elements in detail tomorrow, and then day after tomorrow we will get into the system, and then we will execute. Means I will show you first without any configuration, means based on the standard configuration I will execute one inbound process, and then I will ask you guys to execute one inbound process end to end. Then we will add variations to that same inbound process, and once you guys, means then next day we will do the outbound process, simple one, and then we will start doing the configurations for the inbound process first, and then we will complete all of the inbound process related topics, like first inbound simple configuration, put away strategy, storage type, warehouse structure definition, everything, and then inbound simple, then inbound complex, like using process oriented storage control, and then in inbound we will have the value added services, deconsolidation, quality inspection, and then put away. So we will do all these variations. Then we have different versions of inbound, like expected goods received, and slotting and rearrangement. So we will complete all this inbound, then we will start with outbound. Clear?
Yeah, fine, Anup. And also, could you please give, like, while doing inbound process, so what kind of the issues we will face if it is support project, and what could be the solution? Usually, general issues and all. Could you please
Okay.
try to explain us?
Yes, yes.
Definitely, it will help us.
So
That's right. Yeah.
it depends on which topic we are discussing on a particular day. On that day, if you ask this same question which you are telling me now, okay, I might
Yeah,
forget
yeah.
it. I'm not. Yeah. So just remind me each day. So then we will have 4 to 5 extra minutes to discuss about those things. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, sure, Anup. And also, could you
Okay.
please share today's and previous class PPT? Definitely, it will be helpful for us.
Yeah, yeah. I will share.
Okay. Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then good night. Bye.
Thank you, Anup. Good night. Thank you, Suresh.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks, man. Bye.
Thank you all.
Good
Thank
day.
you so much. Bye. Good night.